Welcome back, everybody, to the Creative Cosplay Corner. I am Cable Rose, your host and Uber fan, a fan of all things cosplay. Today, we're coming from the West Coast. We have a casual cosplayer, so I appreciate Lucy being on the show today, and we have SCIFI.GINGER that we're going to bring on and introduce. We've got a little bit of a theme back here we're going to talk about, but we want to see a little bit about Lucy and see kind of how she got into cosplay. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Might be your first time. I don't know how many interviews you go through for your cosplay.
This is my first time doing an interview that isn't like an on the spot at a con thing. So this is definitely foreign to me.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you being here. So do us a favor. How did you get into cosplay?
Well, I got into cosplay, I guess like 15 years ago now. Ooh, that seems like a long time. I grew up super nerdy in a really small town, and so when we started to see stuff like Gaia Online and DeviantArt become things, I was super into those, and I started meeting people on there who are also nerds, and they were all in costume, so I wanted to be in costume, and yeah, it just kind of happened. It was like kind of a natural hobby for me to take up. My mom is a seamstress, so I had already been making most of my own clothes and stuff, so it just seemed like a thing to do, and I've just been doing it ever since.
How did you get into the DC world, or what is it about the DC world?
I kind of reluctantly got into DC because I'm very obsessive, as I think most cosplayers are, super obsessive into things. When I'm a fan of something, I have to know everything about it, which was the reason that I never got into comics. Because I've never read Marvel comics, but I mean, DC is a nightmare. It just, you can never know everything about it. So people have been trying to get me into it for a long time, and I was like, no, it will ruin my life. Don't do this to me. And then one time I sat down, and it was Young Justice on Netflix, and I was like, okay, I will watch one DC thing so that people can stop bugging me about it.
6 months later.
Now we're here. now it's just my entire life.
And now you're hooked. Your appreciation for maybe lesser known DC characters, and you and I are going to connect because one of my favorite characters is over your right shoulder. I think that's Booster Gold back there.
Yes.
So I want to start with you as a Booster Gold because do you play any tabletop games? Are you a tabletop gamer?
Yeah, absolutely.
So HeroClix. Do you know HeroClix?
Yes, and I have the blue and bold. I have blue and gold, of course. I haven't painted them yet, but they're sitting on my desk.
So I'm all about some Booster Gold. So when I saw this in your IG, I was like, I got to talk to her about it. So please tell me, how come Booster Gold?
So the first character in the DC universe I really connected to was Jaime Reyes, who was the third Blue Beetle. So I read his entire series first. That was the first series that I sat down and read from beginning to end. The 2009 series, not the New 52 stuff.
Okay. That's another story. That's another
thing. That's another video. But so I read all of Jaime Reyes, which led me to reading all of Ted Kord, which brought me to Booster Gold. And once I read his, I think it's called the 52 Pickup series from 2006, immediately following Infinite Crisis.
Yes.
So I guess 2009. Yeah, once I read that series, I was like, this is my boy. This is my boy forever. He's just so well done.
There's another one in here you said DC, because DC is much darker than anything Marvel that I know of. And there is a character that you pulled off quite well. And I want to talk about your Red Hood.
Yes. It's so funny because this cosplay is actually all over my craft room table right now because I'm redoing all the armor. So I keep looking at it and being like, you have to put that back on.
The mask, the jacket, the like you said, the armor, everything about this one though, when I get into DC, when I get into the storylines, this one's just dark, and I love me some Red Hood. I love one, for whatever reason, this, I call them buckets because I'm a Star Wars guy, but this helmet, this particular is fantastic. So how did you get into this and this cost for this one?
This is actually a really fun story because My favorite Robin is Tim.
Okay.
Tim Drake, Red Robin, love him to death. And I really, really wanted to cosplay him. But I'm very, very tall, and Tim is a little boy. You know, I guess actually he's probably about the same, not the point. So I convinced my other best friend, she's a little bit taller than me and very gangly, and I was like, so you're going to cosplay Dick Grayson, so I can cosplay Tim Drake. And she was like, done. And then we had another friend who was like, oh, I really want to cosplay Damien. So we were like, done, we have this group. And then we had a third or a fourth girl who was like, I'd only do it if I could be Tim. And by that point, I'd already had the entire group together, and I was like, okay, I don't know much about Jason at this point, but I guess I'm going to learn everything about him. And I ended up being the only one who actually finished their cosplay. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. Damien finished as well. But both the Tim, we never even saw the Tim at the convention, and my other friend, unfortunately, didn't get her costume done. So it ended up just being me as Red Hood, and it was, that's such a powerful costume to wear.
It's a pretty badass.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. But sticking with our theme, and I like your term. You said I'm a casual cosplayer. Now, don't take me wrong. This isn't casual to me. This is actually a very dedicated. And you said it. You're going to learn everything you can about your character to understand what it is you're doing. But I really like when you said the term casual in our conversation. This, don't know why. This is your impulse. So. Tell me about it, because I'm a big Flash fan, but there's 106 Flashes, and I'm making that number up, of course. But there are, in my game, you've got 1,000 different types of Flashes to use in the game. But tell me about your impulse, because it's not casual, but this is a fun character. So tell me about it.
That's literally all it is. He's just so much fun. How can you not want to be this hyperactive little creature that he is? He's so much fun, and I see a lot of my young self in him. Okay. So he's just, it was great to be able to just release all this energy that I had while I was at the convention, and it's so much fun. And I wanted to ask you about that, because I should have grabbed the picture. There was a very large DC gathering, or a very large group gathering picture that y'all took, and you were in like one of the bottom corners. There was other people in the shot as well. But you looked like you probably were running around all day as the Impulse in that energy kind of environment. So tell me about it. What's it like to go to a con as any character, let alone as an Impulse? But what's it like to walk through a con when you're in cosplay? Powerful and exciting and amazing. I'm actually a very shy person, and I'm not very good at speaking. But you know, when you can put on a costume and a character, it really lets you kind of let part of a personality that you maybe sometimes shove down. So like, sorry.
No, you're
not
good
at speaking.
You're okay.
But with Impulse, it's like that. That fun zaniness that I can do. And he's also a really fun character specifically because the people who are big fans of Impulse are big fans of Impulse. And I mean, the Impulse series was so dark and deep, and it's just amazing to meet somebody and like actually have one of those real conversations about. He's just a really fun character. But
so I got to tell you, Lucy, so when I went through your picks and I saw what you've got, and I'm going to pull one more up here. This is what I'll call a diversity pick, because I think this is Mass Effect. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then down here on the bottom, I think if I read your picture, it was, I don't know if you can see that, if I'm in your way.
Yeah. So those two are, is there two?
There should be two.
There's Impulse behind you. Yeah, those two are two girls from Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
So the brunette is Max, who was the protagonist of the first one, and then and then the blonde is Rachel, who wasn't actually directly in the first game, but she was like a big kind of red herring character. She's very good game. My goodness.
So again, when I talk about having a casual, this isn't to me casual. This is some kick-ass cosplay and some time put in, some effort put in when you go get to walk through and go through the con. Now I've got one more picture I'm not going to show because I don't know if it's you. There's a hot dog picture, and I don't want to talk about a hot dog. Is that you?
No, that's my husband.
Okay, this is your husband, so I apologize for bringing him up, but I had to know what this thing was. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm the one who made that costume, and it's from Life is Strange as well. It's
so it's part of the series.
It is.
Okay.
He's this really, I think he's much more ingrained in the fandom now, but when I made it, he was like this really little, what do you call it? Like the hidden package?
Yeah. Like you buy your DLC, DCO, yeah.
It was just like a hidden joke throughout the series for like people who noticed. Like, because it's quite a serious game, and as you're playing it, you start to see this little hot dog guy everywhere, and you're like, kind of don't wish that was who was here, but yeah, no, that was so much fun. We also did a boudoir shoot with him in the hot dog suit.
I saw that.
That's one that you can just keep to yourself.
I did, but I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't know who that was or what that was going on there. I saw the hot dog sprawled out on the. It was good.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. This is your forum. This is your time. Is there anything you want to say to your audience? And I say your audience, but is there anything you want to say to your audience as we kind of, and you got that furrowed brow, like, don't put that on me. Don't put that juju on me. Is there anything you want to say to your audience?
I mean, not really, but if I could say something to any cosplayers or people watching this, just like, let everybody have fun. It's so easy in this hobby to like get yourself into a headspace where you don't think you're good enough, or you start judging other people and saying they're not good enough, or you decide that once you start deciding that there's standards on a hobby like this, nobody has fun anymore. So make sure that you're like really diving into the fun part, and the cosplay part is the part that comes after, you know?
I do. I think it's a really fun world that I get to be a part of now, to just share with y'all and share you all with the world. And so I appreciate you being here today. Absolutely. It was a good time.
Well, I appreciate you getting involved and finding out stuff and meeting people. That's really wonderful. It's a beautiful community.
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody come back for another episode of Creative Cosplay Corner, and we will catch you guys on the flip flop.